Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our Palantir Presents webinar series. My name is Sarah Nelson and I will be your host today. I have with me Babatunde Ojo and he will be our presenter. I would like to let you know that this session is being recorded, but before we start on break-even price analysis featuring PalantirCASH AX, I'd like to give you a brief bio on our presenter. Babatunde Ojo is a business development executive based in our London office and has been with Palantir since April 2012. With a background in software development, sales, and recruitment, Babatunde is now responsible for expanding the Palantir client base in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, along with account management for a number of existing clients. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand this seminar over to Babatunde Ojo. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the questions box and we will answer them at the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for the intro, Sarah. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining our Palantir Presents session today. As Sarah mentioned, my name is Babatunde Ojo, and I'll be taking you through this presentation on break-even analysis featuring PalantirCASH AX. The title is a little bit misleading because that's not the only thing we're going to be looking at today. We're also going to be looking at other types of analysis at the asset level, so in particular looking at Monte Carlo and also sensitivity analysis. So as we go through this presentation, there will be a few things that we'll cover off, and as Sarah says, any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box. So first of all, what I would like to do is just to give you a brief introduction into Palantir, who we are and what we do. Following on from that, I just want to set the scene, looking at the types of challenges that a number of our clients face in the industry. And then what we'll do is we'll go into PalantirCASH AX and we'll demonstrate how the application handles and runs the analysis that I previously mentioned. So let's just go into our introduction. So who are we and what do we do? We consider ourselves to be a consulting and software firm, and we are the leading provider of integrated dynamic planning solutions to the upstream sector. Ultimately, what that means is that we are helping E&P companies to manage the life of field data, making sure that processes and systems are working much more dynamically with each other and enabling organizations to make much better and faster decisions moving forward. We have a number of offices based across the globe. This allows us to be close to our clients, but also places us strategically across the globe in order to be able to get to client site whenever we need to, enables us to reach across the globe in the right way. And as we grow as an organization, we will be looking to expand our physical locations over the next few years. This slide here just gives a snapshot of a number of the organizations that currently trust us with their integrated dynamic planning processes. Now, we don't show this slide to sort of show off. This actually should put a lot of people at ease that they are not the only ones who recognize sometimes that some external input is needed. Just because a certain process has been utilized from the beginning until now, it doesn't mean that things can't be refined or improved in certain ways. So the companies that you see here, range of sizes, range of activities that we help them with, just goes to show that Palantir are able to handle a wide range of problems and help a wide range of clients in various ways. And how do we help our clients? So this is an overview of the services and the software applications that we offer. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can see there are services, so a wide range of consulting expertise that we have within the organization. This then is complemented by our software packages. We have our AX suite of applications, which are focused at the asset level. We also have our CX suite, which is geared towards the corporate side of planning. And then our services and software combined gives us our solutions at the bottom. So as mentioned before, a really wide range of activities that we get involved with for our clients, enabling them to make much better decisions moving forward and be able to really have a much more effective planning process. So let's have a look at the number of the challenges that are currently faced within the industry. Over the time that I've been here, and certainly from when Palantir started, there have been a number of conversations, a number of meetings, a number of discussions that we've had with various companies in regard to the challenges that they face within the industry. As we can see here, data collection is a very, very important one and a very prevalent one as well, looking at how the data is collated within the different functions in order to use that data in a much more efficient way moving forward. Expensive processes, people spending more time on data collection rather than actually using that data for analysis or strategic purposes. There's a lot of focus on insight and on execution rather than insight. What that means is that companies are focused on the here and now and trying to get a process done and finished. A good example of that is a reserves reconciliation process, but not actually having a way of repeating that process very easily so that it becomes a lot more functional to actually do moving forward. So this is where we get into sort of disparate systems not working together, different departments within companies using different systems that don't talk to each other, and so it makes it very difficult then for decisions to be made at the corporate level, because by the time it takes to collate all of that data, the data might be out of date. It's the price might have changed, which is obviously a very prevalent one in the current climate, and so this makes the whole planning process very, very difficult. But then if we take that sort of further down to the asset level, which is what we're going to focus on today, as you can see here, there are a number of things that companies are looking at in order to make asset decisions. As we all know, we work in a high risk and high reward industry, and there are numerous variables and factors that we need to consider at the asset level when you're going to decide what course of action to take, and also when evaluating those options in front of you. This can be applied equally to existing assets as well as prospects and targets, and we find that it's important to be able to analyze an asset in a number of ways in order to make a much more educated decision moving forward. And I guess this is where analysis such as break-even price and sensitivities and Monte Carlo come into things, because as an example, break-even price is probably one of the simplest sort of analytical tools available, but actually it's not done as often as you think it would be, and so having the ability to do that very, very quickly and very, very easily is very, very important. So this is where our application PalantirCASH AX comes in. As I mentioned, along with all of the types of analysis that we're trying to do at the asset level, trying to do that within some of the existing economics tools, and in particular Excel, can be very, very challenging. A lot of the main reasons for that are listed on the left-hand side of this slide. So models that are not standardized, and so therefore trying to assess the variables within the models is difficult. Trying to utilize the data, trying to bring the right data into the models can be difficult. And then when we get to consolidations, roll-ups, etc., whilst Excel is a very powerful tool, it can have its limitations when we're trying to do some of the more complex analysis. And so this is where PalantirCASH AX comes in. If you've read the synopsis and the prologue to this webinar, one of the things that we've mentioned is recognizing those strategic opportunities and trying to understand the variables that your existing assets and prospects are susceptible to is going to be crucial to success in the current climate. So PalantirCASH AX gives you a platform to be able to handle that in a much more efficient way. As I say, it's geared towards hands-on modeling and allows asset teams the ability to run very fast analysis a number of different ways. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the application and actually show you how quickly and how efficiently the application can run that type of analysis. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open up the application. Okay. So this is the interface for PalantirCASH AX. As I mentioned, it's our spreadsheet-based modeling tool. And what I'm going to do first of all is just to open my project scenario just so you can see the interface. Okay. So what I've done is I have an exploration project in my portfolio, and I'm going to analyze this particular scenario in a number of different ways. As you can see, I have my main tab here, and I also have my input section. Now, I've got my production. I've also got a number of different inputs within this particular scenario, including price, my capex, OPEX, etc. Now, ultimately what I want to do is, if I have assessed a particular scenario for a prospect or for this exploration project, what I might want to do is understand what my break-even price might be. Now, as I mentioned, it's one of the more simpler analytical tools to run, but it's also quite an important one because it gives you just a sense of the minimum price that you will need for a particular scenario before it becomes uneconomical. So what we have is our Goal Seek plugin here, and as you can see, I have my project scenario highlighted here. I also have my input variable, which is my oil price, and I also have my result variable. And in this instance, what I'm going to look at is the break-even price for my MPV10 at 0. One of the benefits of this particular tool within PalantirCASH AX is that you can run this on a number of different input variables and a number of different result variables as well. So for example, not only on price, but you may want to find out what your minimum economic field size might be, or if you're involved in bid round analysis, you may want to find what the minimum bonus you can offer will be in order for your, for that particular prospect to still be a viable option for you. One of the things that you also are able to do with this particular plugin is, if you do want to take your break-even price and actually apply it to your particular scenario, you can do that very easily as well. So what I've done now is I've set all of my variables. I've set my calculation options as well. So in this particular example, my max factor, the price for the break-even price may be higher than the original price that's set in the particular scenario. And once we've done that, we can then calculate. And as I say, this runs that very, very quickly. And then we get our results. So what this chart is actually showing us is the factor that the price that we currently have would need to be multiplied by in order to give us our break-even price. What this also shows is the number of iterations that we're running in order to find that. And so in this particular example, I have not decided to apply the price to my model. However, if I did want to do that for particular analysis reasons, then I can do that very, very quickly. And as we can see here, the price in my model has actually changed to the price that is in the plugin. All right. Now, as I say, this is a very, very simple but very powerful plugin to be able to utilize, and as I've discussed, there are a couple of, there are a number of other ways that you may want to use that. So what we'll do now is we'll look at a different type of analysis with regards to Monte Carlo, and this particular is very useful if we are looking at an exploration project. So we may have a scenario based on a production profile. We may have some minimum information, but what we may want to do is to run to actually generate a number of different scenarios, which will then enable us to get a much more accurate much more accurate scenarios within that project. So you may just want 3 scenarios so you can run your Swanson's mean, or you may want to do some much more detailed analysis on more scenarios, so anything from P10 all the way through to P90. And so having the ability to run Monte Carlo on that very, very quickly is a very useful tool for asset teams. So what I'm going to do is just to run you through the Monte Carlo plugin for PalantirCASH AX as well. So what I'm just going to do is just make sure that I'm connected to the appropriate project. And what I'm also going to do is load my variables. Now I have some variables that are already preloaded. Again, this can be configured to the variables that the user may want to run the analysis on, and you can also set up a number of correlations and reporting variables. For this particular example, I have my reporting variable set up for MPV at 0, 10, 15, and I'll also have my my PI and my ROR. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to run 500 iterations, but you can set this, to 1,000, 2,000, etc., if you feel that is appropriate. So as the plugin is actually running our simulation, you can see the calculation engine working, and one of the benefits of having this plugin available in AX is that trying to do this within Excel is, well, as I'm sure most people on the session would know, is it would be a very painstaking and time-consuming process. But PalantirCASH AX has that powerful functionality that running this on different scenarios and different projects becomes a very, very fast and a very, very efficient process, meaning that that detailed analysis that we may want to get ourselves involved in becomes a very easy process to repeat and then actually report on moving forward. So as you can see, our simulation is just about finished. And we can look at our results. Now what I'm going to do, let me just maximize our MPV10. So at the moment I just have 9 bins in my chart, but if I increase the number of bins, you start to see how the distribution with this particular project starts to look, and you get a better sense of the deviation and standard deviation within that project. What we can also then do is look at our cumulative chart and actually see where our different scenarios plot on our chart as well. And this is very, very useful because, as I said, it gives you a much more accurate view of your particular scenarios and what that project may look like when we then decide to run an expected monetary value calculation later on down the line. Once we've run this analysis, we can then create the scenarios within our project very, very easily. And as you can see, they then start to populate within the project. And like I've mentioned before, trying to do this kind of analysis within traditional tools and within Excel is a very painstaking and time-consuming process, and Excel becomes very clunky when we try and do that. So all of my scenarios have now been populated within my project, and like we're able to do within PalantirCASH AX very, very easily, each scenario has a snapshot summary report, and you can very easily compare your P50 against your P80, for example. And because we have a very standardized format, it's very easy to compare results against our key indicators just based on scenarios. The final thing that we're going to look at within CASH AX is running sensitivity analysis. Again, this is a very key part of our review and our analysis at the asset level. And one of the things that a number of clients that we speak to when we're talking about some of the economic challenges or running economic challenges that we have is being able to run sensitivity analysis much more efficiently and a lot easier than they can currently do. So again, PalantirCASH AX has the ability to do that very, very easily. So what I have here are our output variables. So again, very similar to what I did with the Monte Carlo. I have our results for our MPV and for our RRR as well as our sort of the main things that we want to look at. And then what we're also able to do is to set up which variables we're going to run the sensitivities on. I have this pre-configured already, but again, we can set this up for any of the variables that we have within our model. What's also important to highlight is that depending on how detailed you need this to be, I have it set up for 25 and 50% both positively and negatively, with 100 being our base value, but the number of increments that you want to set is entirely up to the user. And again, I just need to connect to the appropriate project scenario. Now, once I've got that all set up, I can then calculate. All right. Okay, let's maximize this here. So as we can see, PalantirCASH AX has now run sensitivities based on my settings against the project scenario that I had loaded up. And as we can see, we've got our base value from the project for our MPV10, and we can look at in detail, on both our spider and tornado charts, how our variables are impacted. And again, this is very, very useful for us to use, because what that then shows us is what our projects are most susceptible to and most sensitive to. So again, whether it's price, whether it's changes in production, we could set this up for different CapEx categories if we wanted to. And going back to the challenges that I mentioned on one of the slides, one of the benefits of being able to do it within the application is it's very easy to repeat, and it's very easy to apply it to different scenarios or different projects within our portfolio. And going sort of into more detailed analysis down the line when we look to roll that up, at the portfolio level, you can then see how those particular assets have an impact on our overall portfolio. But ultimately, when we're focusing on our analysis at the asset level, PalantirCASH AX enables us and allows us to really focus on the analytics. And we've seen that it's proved very beneficial for for exploration teams, asset teams, and for those economists who really want to sort of delve into more detailed analysis, in order for their teams to make much more accurate and much more detailed decisions around what they do. Again, whether we're looking at farm in, farm out scenarios or M&A, etc. Being able to recognize those opportunities in the current climate is a very, very crucial factor. Okay, so just to sum up, and as I mentioned, recognizing those opportunities and being able to run very, very fast and very, very detailed analysis is crucial in the current climate, in particular when we have volatile markets around prices. So utilizing the analysis and analytical tools available within PalantirCASH AX enable those users to really make much more accurate and much faster decisions moving forward. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm always open to any questions.
Thanks, TJ. That was great. We actually do have a couple questions, so I'll jump right into the Q&A portion with our first question. Does PalantirCASH AX handle roll-ups and incremental analysis as well?
Yes, it does. That's one of another feature and sort of benefit of PalantirCASH AX is that whilst we are focusing at the asset level, it does have the ability to handle roll-ups and incremental analysis, and I'm certainly happy to show that at a later time, or if the person who asked the question wants to see that, we can do that certainly.
Okay, great. Yeah, and if you would like, you can contact at one of these emails, and again, he said he'll happy to delve in that a little bit further for you if you have a question like that. Our next one is for break-even price. If you have a project that has both oil and gas, can we work out the break-even price for both oil and gas at the same time?
Yes, you can. Basically, the tool is obviously looking at the project, and what you would then do is take both of the variables and run them at the same time.
Okay, simple enough. Next question. Can Monte Carlo be added/used on PalantirCASH, not the AX version?
No. The Monte Carlo is only available for PalantirCASH AX.
Okay. And it looks like we have one more. Is it possible to run sensitivity for NPV and IRR based on first oil year?
I could give an answer, but that question is probably better posed at one of my colleagues who'd be better placed to answer that. So if you just note down the person who asked that, Sarah, then we'll get that answered for them
Sure.
as soon as we can after the session.
Yep, I can definitely do that. And we are really good with contacting people back, and we will make a recording of this, and once it's edited, we'll post it as well. And if you would like to see that, you can also comment or leave a question at one of these email addresses. But for now, that looks like all of our questions. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and be on the lookout for our next invite to our Palantir Presents webinar series. Thank you, everyone.